Now let's get into our conversation. Now, the World Trade Organization, through its trade facilitation framework, opened a memorandum of understanding with its members in 2013 with a view to further reduce barriers to trade and harmonize documentations in relation to customs, immigrations, and other administrative procedures. Nigeria, as a signee to the Trade Facilitation Agreement, has been reaping the benefits of ratifying this agreement, including contribution to the strategic national objective of ascending in ranking of the World Bank Ease of Doing Business. While significant steps have been taken to implement the agreement in Nigeria, there are still some challenges that are limiting the progress of the Nigeria Trade Facilitation Roadmap, which aims to foster competitiveness before the 2022 deadline. But for this and more information about the implementation of the Trade Facilitation Agreement in Nigeria, we're now being joined by the Director of Trade Nigeria and the Chairman of the National Trade Facilitation Committee, Mr. Abubakar Aliyu, who joins us from our studio in Abuja. Good morning, Mr. Aliyu. Thanks for joining us on the program. Can you give us a background into how the TFA came up and how Nigeria has progressed since its inception?
Thank you very much for this question, and it's a pleasure having me here. Just to give you a background on the World Trade Organization Trade Facilitation Agreement, it is an international agreement that was agreed to by WTO members in 2013 at the 9th WTO Ministerial Conference in Bali, Indonesia. So members agreed to have the agreement to serve as the basis for improving trade among WTO members. So currently, the agreement came into effect in 2017, and Nigeria is one of the original members of the Trade Facilitation Agreement. So, and as you know, all the 164 members of the WTO are also signatory to the agreement. So we are there, and the agreement has entered into force.
Now, what's the mandate and the vision of the National Trade Facilitation Committee?
Okay, thank you very much. The mandate of the National Trade Facilitation Committee is to ensure the implementation of the WTO trade facilitation. And that is intended to achieve two basic objectives: making sure that at the national level, all programs and policies on trade facilitation are implemented to make the environment easier for trade. So that is one key objective of the trade facilitation. It's not just an international agreement, but it also enhances or improves the trade facilitation within the country. Apart from that, it is also intended to ensure that we meet all the international commitments arising from the agreement. So the agreement has two basic objectives, national and international. And that is the main objectives and the goal of the Trade Facilitation Agreement.
Now, you've talked about the objective of the agreement, but then what benefits do members like Nigeria stand to derive from implementing the agreement?
Well, there are so many advantages to be derived from the agreement. One, it will reduce the time of trading and doing business. It will also reduce the cost of doing business, which is a major barrier. So apart from reduction of time and cost of doing business, it is also expected to promote transparency, accountability, and stability in terms of ease of doing business. It will also simplify and harmonize all the processes of trade procedures, and that is key because when things are simplified and harmonized, things are done much easier than if they are not harmonized. So These are some of the advantages, and apart from that, it will facilitate free flow of trade, which will lead to increase in revenue as well as growth in terms of trade. So it's expected to bring advantage to the country and also the international community. Members through the agreements will be able to trade more among themselves. So there are quite a number of national and international benefits that members derive from the trade facilitation agreement. It is actually a win-win agreement for everybody.
Now, the committee has taken steps to implement parts of the agreement. So tell us, what are your achievements and the low-hanging fruits, or what are your achievements and the low-hanging fruits at the moment?
Well, we have been able to achieve a lot. We have interfaced and with a number of stakeholders, ministries, department, agencies, and other stakeholders. I'm talking of the private sector, to ensure that we work together to ensure that we implement all the measures prescribed in the agreements. And we have visited ports and other entry points and have handled quite a number of complaints, and they have been addressed both before COVID and during COVID. So the trade facilitation agreement has ensured that addresses or complaints and issues arising from trade are adequately addressed. So that is there, and we are working in collaboration with all members to ensure that all complaints and all issues are addressed for free flow of trade in Nigeria, and as well as trade between Nigeria and other countries.
Now, going back to the committee now, how have you intervened in cushioning the negative effect of a recent outbreak of a coronavirus pandemic on trade generally?
Thank you very much. The committee, in response to COVID, has done a lot, and that has been done through the ministry. I will start with the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. As a result of the outbreak of COVID pandemic, the ministry established emergency operations center to ensure that production and distribution of essential goods, including food, drugs, and other products that are necessary to address the COVID pandemic was not disrupted. So the emergency operations center was up and doing. It intervened on a number of issues, and it was able to link up with the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 to ensure that any hitches and impediments to free movement of food, drugs, and other essential products needed to address the pandemic were resolved. Apart from that, the ministry has set up trade information portal, which is up and running, so members of the public can key in and get the necessary information, including those related to COVID. But apart from the ministry, I have to, I can also inform you that other related ministries, departments, and agencies have also taken measures on their own. Like the Standards Organization is a member of the committee, and it has facilitated expedited waivers on SONCAP certification. It has also provided free test analysis for essential goods in Standards Organization laboratories. So apart from PAN, apart from SON, other agencies like Ministry of Aviation and the Federal Aviation Authority of Nigeria have also taken steps to respond to the COVID pandemic through aircraft and airport disinfection. training of aviation workers to handle COVID cases. Measures have also been put in place to ensure social and physical distancing at the airports, as well as continued public enlightenment and provision of protective equipment to airport workers. NAFDAC too has done a lot as a member of the Trade Facilitation Committee through the online registration of essential products and expedited registration process for essential products. Shippers Council and so many agencies have responded to the COVID pandemic in such a manner that the effect of the pandemic is mitigated as a result of their action. So we work in coordination and collaboration, and we are also linking up with the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 to ensure that we have a coordinated response on COVID-19. So, and we are still working, and we hope that the pandemic will soon come to an end, and normality, things will normalize, and there will be more free flow of trade within the country and with other countries of the world.
Everyone is definitely looking for the time when, of course, all of this, the COVID-19 pandemic will come to an end. But hold on to your thoughts, Mr. Liu. We'll be coming back to you shortly. Welcome back. We're still talking about the Trade Facilitation Agreement, and we still have with us the Director of Trade Nigeria and the Chairman of the National Trade Facilitation Committee, Mr. Abubakar Aliyu. Thank you for staying with us, Mr. Aliyu. So let's continue the conversation now. Tell us, how significant is the TFA for the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement Takeoff?
Thank you very much. The Trade Facilitation Agreement is very essential for the takeoff of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, which, as you know, was supposed to come into effect in July, but had to be postponed or rescheduled to January 2021. Because the provisions of the TFA is applicable to all countries, including members of the African Continental Free Trade Area. So members, through their, they are expected to adopt the provisions of the agreement and implementing them to make sure that trade among African countries is improved and is enhanced. So there is a clear link between the TFA and the implementation of the Continental Free Trade Area. Most of the members of the Cmtte are also members of the World Trade Organization, and they have taken measures at national level and at regional level and at continental level to ensure that the TFA enters into effect in January 2021. So the enforcement of the provisions of the TFA is expected to give a significant boost to the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area in 2021. Just to tell you, within the West Africa region, we have a program on trade facilitation West Africa, and members have taken measures by ensuring that trade is facilitated within the region. And members of other regional groupings too, they have taken measures to ensure that they trade more among themselves as a result of the provision of the TFA agreement. So when you look at all these efforts, the effort at national level and the effort at regional level and the efforts at continental level, it will actually help and complement the provisions of trade facilitation in the African Continental Free Trade Area. So the TFA is actually key to the implementation of African Continental Free Trade Area, which will come into effect in January 2021.
All right, just before I let you go, Mr. Leo, what are the means to contact the committee in case of any information or inquiries?
Okay, we have our own structure, and we have the main committee itself, the National Trade Facilitation Committee, which is domiciled in Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. We have the Secretariat. Then we have also the different working groups, 6 of them, handling different issues on trade facilitation. And we also have a hotline or a line that you can call to complain or to report any issue, infringement on trade facilitation. So we have a structure in place, and members of the public are free to contact the hotline and the Secretariat of National Trade Facilitation Committee to ensure that if they have any issue or they have any complaints or any suggestions, that can be properly handled and addressed by the National Trade Facilitation Committee. And we intend to improve and to deepen the structures and the coordination to ensure that we do the best we can to ensure that trade facilitation is enhanced in Nigeria, and that will not only complement the ease of doing business program of government, but will also ensure that Nigeria implements all the commitments arising from the trade facilitation agreements. Thank you very much.
Would like to thank you to the Director of Trade Nigeria and the Chairman of the National Trade Facilitation Committee, Mr. Abubakar Aliyu. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.